Good afternoon, everybody. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. With this by saying by Malcolm X, I would like to welcome our wonderful crowd to our very first session of SkillUp with CES 2023, an initiative by the Panel Discussion Committee of the Civil Engineering Society of the University of Moratuwa. Today, 5 of our brilliant scholars who are currently pursuing their PhD studies have graciously taken time out of their busy schedules to share their invaluable experiences with us. Before we dive into their journeys, let us extend our heartfelt appreciation to these exceptional individuals. Their dedication, perseverance, remarkable achievements have paved the path to their success. Balancing academic commitments and personal lives while pursuing a PhD is no small feat. Their willingness to participate today is a testament to their commitment to education by sharing their wisdom to the younger generations. Without further ado, let's meet our esteemed panel of PhD candidates. First, let me introduce our very first guest speaker, Engineer Nishangani Gaurikanthan, an outstanding scholar from the 16th batch of the Civil Engineering Department, whose academic journey has been nothing short of exceptional. She completed her Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from the University of Moratuwa. With a Master of Science in Civil Engineering from the University of Moratuwa, she is currently pursuing her PhD in engineering at the prestigious University of Cambridge in United Kingdom. Today, we have the privilege of hearing her insights and experiences as she continues to make significant contributions to the field of engineering. Next in line, introducing Engineer Amila Premakumara, a remarkable individual from the 17th batch of the Civil Engineering Department. With a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, earned with the highest distinction of first-class honors, he was also a visitor lecturer and a graduate research assistant at the University of Moratuwa, extending his dedication to education beyond his own studies. Currently, he is pursuing a PhD in the Infrastructure Engineering Department at the University of Melbourne in Australia, where he continues to push the boundaries of knowledge in his field. Next, allow me to introduce Engineer Isuri Amarasinghe, a top-performing student also from the 17th batch of the Civil Engineering Department. She completed her Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering with a first-class honors, notably achieving the highest rank in her class, showcasing her phenomenal skills and commitment to her field. Currently, she is on a path of further academic exploration, pursuing a PhD in engineering at the University of Melbourne in Australia. She has previously served as a visiting instructor and a research assistant at the University of Moratuwa, where she shared her expertise and mentored aspiring engineers. And presently, she's contributing as a teaching assistant at the University of Melbourne. Following, I would like to introduce
Excuse me, Vinuka. You're muted, I guess.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Following, I would like to introduce Engineer Sasinu Samaravikrama, a bright scholar from the 17th batch of the Civil Engineering Department. He holds a Bachelor of Science Honours degree in Civil Engineering from the University of Muratua. In addition, he pursued a minor degree in entrepreneurship from the Department of Management of Technology, showcasing his diverse interests and a forward-thinking mindset. He has also served as a graduate teaching assistant at the SLD Research University. Currently, he is on a path of further academic and professional growth as a PhD candidate at the University of Melbourne in Australia. Last but not least, introducing Engineer Upeka Gunaratna, a highly accomplished student also from the 17th batch of the Civil Engineering Department. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering with a first-class distinction. His passion for civil engineering has also driven him to serve as a graduate research assistant at the University of Muratua, where he actively contributed to various research initiatives. At present, he is also furthering his academic journey as a PhD candidate in the Department of Infrastructure Engineering at the University of Melbourne in Australia with the rest of his fellow colleagues. It gives us immense pleasure to extend the warmest welcome to our wonderful panel to this session. We are privileged to have them share their experiences and insights as they embark on their exciting chapters in their academic and professional careers. Joined with us today is Dr. Pasindu Veerasinghe, the Senior Treasurer of the Civil Engineering Society. He is a prime pillar within the society and a great mentor to us all. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Pasindu to officially commence the series of sessions of SkillUp with CES 2023. Over to you, sir.
Right, thank you very much. First and foremost, thank you, the Civil Engineering Society, for organizing such an event. And it was a timely requirement for all our graduates to have some motivation and to explore other avenues other than the industrial jobs as well. So therefore, as the initial step, we have selected this one, opportunities for higher studies and how our graduates can embark on these higher studies opportunities while after they finish their course. So therefore, I will thank the CES for initiating this, and also thank you for the panel members who are our alumni who did really well during their undergraduates and secured positions for their higher studies. So thank you for giving back to the university, and I hope your experiences will shed a lot of encouragement and also motivate our students and open their eyes as in to see different opportunities that are available for them. So without taking much time, I will allow you to continue the good work. And after this one, we have planned some physical skill up with sessions as well. So I hope the participation will be like you will participate for those sessions as well, which will be on different areas. So with that, I will finish my talk, and over to you, continue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on with our session, I would like to open the platform to Mr. Sasinu and Mr. Upeka, who have achieved remarkable success in their academic journeys and have secured prestigious scholarships at the University of Melbourne in Australia. We believe that your experiences can illuminate the path for others who dream of pursuing higher education and scholarships at esteemed institutions such as yours. Your knowledge of the application procedures will undoubtedly benefit many aspiring scholars in our crowd. Without further ado, Mr. Sasinu and Mr. Upeka, the platform is yours.
Vinuka. So today we are going to talk about the higher studies opportunities in Australia. So we are mainly focusing on PhD opportunities and other higher studies opportunities in Australia. So when we are talking about the Master of Science degrees, so in Australia so there are two types of Master of Science degrees. One is taught master's degree, also called as master by coursework. So it is very similar to undergraduate study. So it has several semesters, and we have to get some modules, and we have to pass those modules in each and every semester. And also we have and also there is a research master's degree, which is called as master by research, and we need to conduct a research and submit a thesis at the end of the research degree. So basically the duration of these master's degrees is 1 to 2 years. So when it comes to the scholarships, it depends on the depending on the country, it is difficult to get a fully funded scholarship for the taught master's degree. But most of the Australian universities are giving maximum to 20% to 30% scholarship for the master's degree in courseworks. So when it comes to the PhDs, so basically PhD means Doctor of Philosophy. It can be categorized into two aspects, so onshore and split program. So onshore means you have to study in the university and means university which is located, so you have to be a resident in that country. So and also the split program means collaboration with other two or more universities. So in University of Morocco also have split programs for PhDs collaborating with RMIT University. So there are some supervisors from Morocco as well as RMIT. So we have to work on a research project and we have to work in both universities in Sri Lanka and other country. So basically in Australia, PhDs, the duration for a PhD is around 3 to 4 years. And we have the opportunity to apply for the direct PhDs without doing masters, because we have the Washington accreditation for our civil engineering degree, but not for all the countries, only for countries like Australia, UK and New Zealand. And there are some other countries, they require it is required to do a master's degree to do a PhD degree. So and there are some other countries that offers 5-year MSc plus PhD programs, and we know that in US.
Basically, our friend Udita, he started that at University of Florida, I think.
Basically USA and Canada, you had to start with a master's and then you can advance into a PhD. So it would basically take 5 to 6 years. So about direct PhDs, we are not aware about any other country that offers direct PhD apart from Australia, UK and New Zealand. So for example, in Europe, if you are going for South Korea, Japan, all of those countries require MSc. In Europe, especially PhDs are considered as a position. So like they advertise in their website as an employment position. So you can, so we'll talk about them later as well. So here what you want to say is, so easiest path you can take is finish your bachelor's, do MSc, and then apply for a PhD. So you have a higher chance of getting a PhD in that way. You have the options to go for a direct PhD in specific cases.
And just adding up, so that the third point, because the Washington accreditation that we have for our university at Morocco, that degree allows you to apply for direct PhD in Australia, UK and New Zealand. I think China will describe here about United Kingdom, but in Australia and New Zealand, it's quite straightforward. And the thing is, we have a set of team here, like in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Perth. There are so much Sri Lankan community already been here. So
alumni from
Morocco and Peradenia and Brunei even. So they know how Sri Lankans work. They know how they have like a background from Sri Lanka, so they know how it happens. So it's quite straightforward and quite convenient for you guys if you try to apply for that. So make sure that these 3 countries have straight way, but other that is a little bit like a round the hill, right?
So when it comes to the scope of the PhD, so we are required to conduct a novel and high quality research, and at the end of our PhD, we have to submit a thesis, including all the research works that we have done so far in our PhD journey. So let's move on to how to find in an opportunity for your higher studies. So these are the steps that you have to follow to find an higher studies opportunity. So basically first, so we are going to talk these points in next few slides in detail. So first you have to decide on your research interest, then you have to find a relevant university or supervisors. Then the critical point is we have to prepare very strong documents like academic CV, cover letter and EOI. So it's the main point that we have to mainly consider about. So then we have to contact the supervisor, and after contacting the supervisor, if we get a positive response, then we can get ready to write our project proposal for our PhD by discussing with our supervisor. And finally, we can complete our application process for getting the admission for the university. So when talking about the deciding our research interest, so we have to select a research area which is based on our interest, right? So yeah. So so we have to find what we have to do what we are like to do. We have to be passionate on. We have to find what we are passionate about, and so at the same time we have to make sure that do we have the capability, do we have the potential to do this kind of research. Likewise, so we have to select the best research area that suits for us. And then we can narrow down our research area into perspective like do I like to do a simulation, do some modelings and run some simulations like numerical works, or do I prefer to do some practical or experimental tasks like doing some experiments and other things. So then we can narrow down our research area into that kind of perspective. And to get a PhD opportunity, so it's better if you so to get a PhD opportunity in the same area that you have done in your undergraduate or master degree. So it's a positive point if you have done the same in the undergraduate degree, but it's not
compulsory because like the best example is from my case, because I did my undergraduate research in construction management. I did a productivity improvement model using like a much fuzzy analysis and neural network analysis. So,
based on construction management.
But right now I'm doing a structure. So it's basically pure structures. And in cryogenic steel and cryogenic structures and all those kind of stuff. So it's quite completely different what I have done in my undergraduate studies. So anything that you do in undergraduate studies is, I think, it's not your specialty. It's just another module. But having an edge on that would be like it's having an edge on that would be advantages for you. But that is not compulsory. I think Suri can explain a little bit more on that.
Yeah, so I did my research in the structures area, and I'm still doing in the structures area. But it depends on your interest. If you're interested in a little bit more experimental work, you can completely change your area. So don't be focused that you're doing this right now for your undergraduate research. So you just have to do that for your PhD or your master's. Explore other opportunities as well, which you are interested in, and that will help you to decide on your research interest, I think.
Yeah, so if you guys aren't catching up, so what we mean by research area is, so in civil engineering, there are different avenues, right? Project management, structural engineering, hydraulics, environmental. So
transport.
So since the junior batches are also here, in your first maybe couple of years, you are only taking modules from all the areas. And when you come to the end of your degree, you will kind of, not completely, but you'll sort of specialize in one area, right? So we are talking about that area. So when you try to find a PhD, even if you say, for example, chose structural engineering, even within structural engineering, you'll have different avenues. You have computational mechanics, you have fire engineering, you have research about concrete. Likewise, you have different areas, but don't try to narrow down your area too much, because then it will be hard for you to find an opportunity, because there are limited opportunities in one particular area. So just have a broader view, but definitely have an interest, but have a broader view as well, because otherwise it will be difficult to find a specific area. So
and then when deciding our research interest, try to always go in with the developing trending fields like sustainability, clean energy, and AI. So then you can find more opportunities in those areas, because with the development of the world, so every country is trying to achieve sustainability goals in next few years. So try to decide your research interest based on the trending fields that world currently focusing on. And also finally, so explore the research areas that have the opportunities for other interdisciplinary collaboration with other department or other fields. Like we have an example of Udita.
Yeah.
So he did, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you know him, he was in the department, he's now in USA. So he did his like undergraduate research and masters in computational mechanics, right? So
Yeah.
now in Florida, what he's doing is he's
Wow.
not doing a PhD under civil engineering, he's doing a PhD under biomedical engineering. So because his research here had an application in biomedical engineering. Likewise, you don't have to restrict to civil engineering. Your expertise may result in various fields.
Yeah, I mean,
You can explore the
Yeah, you can
opportunities that you
explore.
have.
Yeah. In the fourth point, what we mentioned is like even if you choose any research field, even if you choose any research in your undergraduate or your masters, you can navigate that research by incorporating these areas. So so research is all about funding, right? So if there's no funding, there is no research. So funding basically comes from government agencies and industry partners. So in 2023, there are like, if you say you are gonna do a research about research to improve the mechanical strength of concrete, you are not gonna get funding, right? What you have to, so how you gonna say it? So you have to say you are gonna increase the mechanical properties of concrete, say to reduce the carbon footprint of a building, or to say reduce the construction waste to increase the life of a building. So likewise, you can incorporate those aspects into your research. So if you are doing any analytical study or any say statistical analysis, you can easily incorporate AI aspect into that research. Likewise, try to incorporate that, because nowadays you can't just rely on conventional ideas. You have to be innovative. So that's what we mean by the fourth point actually.
Yeah. So moving on, so then after deciding our research interest, we have to find a university and a potential supervisor for our PhD. So there are several platforms that we can find find the best potential supervisors and the opportunities. So the first one is we can go through the university web portals. So there is if you type on the Google find an expert UniMelb, you will be directed to that site, and you can search by your research area, and that will direct you to a site, and that will show us the supervisors that who are currently ongoing with the ongoing research project related to that area, and also you can search with their names. So it will show his profile and his ongoing research projects and his publication. So you can find opportunities at there. And also LinkedIn. We all know what is LinkedIn. It's a professional body. So every graduate must have a LinkedIn profile, and it should be a very strong one. So when you are applying for any kind of opportunity, I mean a job or higher studies or anything, or even you contact someone from contact some community or contact some person through LinkedIn, the first thing that they are going to do is they are search your profile on the LinkedIn and get an idea about yourself. So if you have a very strong LinkedIn profile, then you have very good opportunity or good chance to have a connection with them. So and also there are many groups and pages in the LinkedIn. So apply for civil, like, so the many supervisors and all the research fellows and everybody are sharing their newly opportunities in the LinkedIn, and on these pages they are sharing them. So if you are following those pages, you can find many opportunities that sharing in the LinkedIn. And also mainly try to find some opportunities through your lecturers and seniors. We all know, we also get the opportunities from them. So they are introduced us to potential supervisors in different universities. So don't be afraid. Go and talk with your lecturers. They are very helpful. They are showing us the path how to follow, and they will connect you to different potential supervisors. So you can find opportunities through them, as well as there are many seniors all around the world in different universities. So you can talk with them, you can make a connection, and you can ask for them about the opportunities related to your research area. So if they have any opportunities, they will let you know, and they will ask you to apply for any opportunities.
My case is quite different because I had to write like to 20 people on, and only like 5 or 6 people responded. So
Yeah.
that is how it is. Like you're not gonna get a response from
It
everyone.
depends on the person.
It depends on the person.
And
So
the luck.
yeah, don't get
maybe.
discouraged. So like Isuri, Sasindu, and I came to Melbourne, but until the last moment that we got scholarship, we didn't know that each other got that, right?
Yeah.
Because we had no idea, because we went through separate pathways. Upek got here later. But so at the end, we got together, but we went on our separate pathways. So don't be reluctant, just apply, just write to them. Like,
Yeah,
apply.
so in PhDs, there are mainly two parts. So you can either write to a supervisor and like try to find a research topic and start a research in that way. And there is another avenue. There are research projects, right? Established research projects. So in these research projects, they need say 3-4 PhD students to work on. So they advertise these research projects saying, I want, so we want this number of research, PhD student in this area. So like if you are approaching a supervisor, first point is the best way. So through university web portals, you can search them and apply them. So in LinkedIn, so you can find those projects, right? So in LinkedIn, they post, I want, like the other day I was talking to a new guy from our department. He's from India. So when I was talking, I asked, how did you find the opportunity and how did you apply? He said, I saw a post on LinkedIn posted by a professor from University of Melbourne. So I saw the post and I wrote to the professor and I applied and got the opportunity. So likewise, LinkedIn currently is a like very useful tool you can use. So in LinkedIn, try to make a circle with your research interest. So once you finalize your research interest, try to like kind of follow people that are in that research area. So then your like feed will be customized to get those opportunities, right? So you know how it happens in Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. So what you search is what you're gonna get. So likewise, try to get a customized feed so where you see those opportunities.
Again, just to add, this is just what our knowledge is and
Yeah.
what our experiences are. It will be quite different for different universities.
Yeah.
So please keep in mind that some universities, especially in maybe America, USA, some of them, they don't want you to contact the supervisors before you apply. So please make sure you read the guidelines in whatever university you are applying before you apply or contact your supervisor.
Be mindful that this is quite Australia focused.
We are mainly focusing on Australia.
Maybe we can move on.
Yeah, so after you after you find out certain universities and potential supervisors, one of the most important things that you have to do is you have to prepare your documentation to contact your supervisor. So the main documentations that you would need is an academic CV, a cover letter, and an expression of interest or an EOI. So the academic CV is different from your conventional CV or resume that you are used to apply for jobs, right? So in academic CV, you have to focus more on your academic background, academic achievements. So you can start with your GPAs, your tertiary education qualifications, and you can explain more about the research projects that you have done. And if you have publication, great, mention them, just explain a little bit about them. If you have done any academic projects, so they don't have to be comprehensive projects. If you have done any academic projects to your for a module, so if you have done them well, include them in your CV. So write your especially software skills, competencies. So if you have presented in any conferences, write them as well. So academic CV doesn't have to be concise. You can take up to, so in your case, you can take up to 2 to 3 pages, I guess. So it doesn't have to be one page resume.
No, there's no, I mean, like, you don't have to stick to 2 pages. That's the resume. That's for industry.
That's for industry. You don't have to be short in academic CVs. And you will need at least 2 academic referees in those CVs. So you can either include your research supervisor and another academic member from our university. Yeah, and the next one is cover letter. So this cover letter means like it's kind of you have to
Like
narrate,
self-narration,
yeah,
like
narrate your interest, how you got that interest, and you have to clearly articulate how your interest aligns with your supervisor's research area, right? That's quite important. So it can be also maybe 1 page, 1.5 max. Clearly articulate what is your interest. Just introduce yourself as well in detail. What are your achievements? How did you get this interest? How your interest aligns with supervisor's research area, and why you are the best person to do this research or do this project, right? And then in expression of interest, what we mean is basically the email that you send to a potential supervisor, expressing that you are willing to work with him for a PhD, right? So this has to be concise, right? Don't write a lot of things here because researchers get maybe tens of emails per day. Therefore, be concise. Maybe just 3 paragraphs would be enough. So
don't start with the introduction.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
name is this. I have a GP of this. Don't start with that because it's the same format, right? Like be somewhat like different point of perspective. Because let's say that I saw that your research is going on this area. I have a little focus on this. I like to do this. That's why I'm contacting you, and then come to yourself. I am an undergraduate from this department. I'm doing this like that, right? Don't be like the typical email. Don't follow that, right?
Yeah. Like final years and the graduate people would get this. I think the junior batches would not understand this. So the usual way to write an EOI or an email is you just introduce yourself, then write your interest, and then conclude. But like tens of people write in that way, in that case, your email does not stand out, right? For them to look at your cover letter and your academic CV, your email has to stand out, right? So for that, start with a like go to their Google Scholar profiles and see what are their latest research is, and then read a little bit and maybe come up with a question, maybe come up with an idea. So include that in your first paragraph and then introduce yourselves. In that way, you can your email would stand out. And the most important thing is you cannot use the same documents for each and every supervisor, right? They have to be tailored for each and every person because their interests are, even though they are in the same field, their interests are different, right? So don't use maybe the academic CV, you may be able to use it, but definitely cover letter and EOI, you cannot use the same thing. So then after preparing your documentation, contact the supervisor, send that EOI as an email and attach your cover letter and your academic CV. Yeah, you can either send a direct email to the supervisor, or there are portals in university websites where you can make an inquiry, or you can use those portals as well. So when sending an email, be mindful that don't send it on Sri Lankan time, right? So be mindful of the time zones. So usually people check emails at the morning. So maybe 8 a.m., 9 a.m. So you can schedule your emails in Google, right? In Gmail. So schedule your emails to appropriate time and send them. Yeah. So after you send those emails, most probably if you send 10 emails, you maybe get one reply, right? So
And even not.
Even none.
Even it can be none, right? And even within those responses, some of the responses will be, thank you for your inquiry, but I don't have any positions now, right? So don't get discouraged. So like you can write as many as emails you would like, and some of them will respond with a positive response, right? So after getting a positive response, they either will want to talk to you, have a chat with you,
Yeah,
or
this is an interesting story because I had a formal interview through Zoom. Sasud had a phone call, right? It's a call through WhatsApp, and he met the supervisor in Sri Lanka, I think, right?
So it depends on your
Depends
case.
on the
Depends on the
person.
supervisor.
Because my supervisor was in a rush, so he just emailed me, can you please give me a WhatsApp number? I'll give you a call and let's have some
Yeah.
discussion. So that's why. So but I was wearing a full formal kit and I was ready for a Zoom
Ready for
meeting.
the interview, right?
But that was a very casual one, yeah.
It depends.
It
Yeah.
depends.
It depends.
depends.
Yep.
Yeah, so that is your chance to impress. So like, be ready to answer anything that they ask. What they ask could be different, but they'll definitely ask about your undergraduate research and if you have done master's research. So that's a certain. So be ready to talk about that. Yeah, next. So after finding a supervisor, they'll say, okay, I like to work with you. You can apply for a position. So getting a supervisor's consent and applying for an opportunity are two different things. Getting the consent from a supervisor doesn't mean that you have got a PhD position at the university. Again, we are talking in the Australian perspective, right? So this can be different in other countries. Basically, in Australia, first you have to get the consent of the supervisor. Then after getting that consent, with that consent, you have to apply through the university postgraduate divisions. You have to formally apply for a position, right? So for applying as well, different universities has different methods. Usually it's online portal. They'll require different documentation and different templates. So in all these portals, you will need a research proposal. So you have to articulate what you are going to do in your PhD. So it will mostly be 1 to 2 pages. So it's a concise one. So you'll have to be specific and accurate. So it may not be the whole research that you do in your PhD, but at the beginning you will have to submit a research proposal. So based on what you submit, based on your credentials, the university will assess you and they'll decide whether you're eligible to follow a PhD in this university. So I think in almost all the universities in Australia, the enrollment and the scholarships come together. If you don't have the scholarship, you won't get the enrollment, right? So in UK and other countries, it's different. They'll give you the enrollment even without funding. But in Australia, if you don't get a scholarship, they don't give you the enrollment. You'll be pushed to the next scholarship round, right? So therefore, when you're applying, you are not applying for a scholarship. You are just applying for a PhD. You will be automatically considered for the scholarship. So when you're applying, be mindful about the deadlines because deadlines vary drastically with the university. For example, in University of Melbourne, there are 4 application rounds. Most universities have 2 rounds. In universities in UK and USA, they basically have 1 round. If they have 1 round, they usually falls within at the end of the year, usually within November. So be mindful of those deadlines as well. So when you apply, basically the application procedure would be you have to fill out an application form at a university web portal. Some universities, especially US and Canadian universities, has a application fee. So you can request this to be waived. In some occasions, they will.
It's free here, right?
Yeah,
it's
in Australia and I think in UK as well, it's free to apply. As I mentioned before, for most PhD application in Australia, scholarship applications are automatically generated. They will automatically consider that. So if you need external funding, you need to apply that separately. I think Nishangani will talk about that. So if you have any questions and problems during your application process, don't hesitate to contact the university, right? The relevant divisions of the university, because it's part of their job, right? So don't hesitate. They are very helpful. Directly contact the universities.
We have written like what?
Even in
They have
our-
bothered
yeah.
so much.
Even in our application process, we have emailed them continuously and continuously.
Yeah, sometimes they know by our names.
Yeah.
25, 30 emails, I think. Yeah.
So don't worry, they are good people. most of the time. So some of the documents that you will need is you will need transcript or degree certificate. So this is not an essential, isn't it?
Yeah, depends. So I applied during my final year of the undergraduate research. So during that time, we did not have the transcript. So what you can get is you can get a result sheet from the examination division, and you can use that to apply as well. Depends on the university you're applying, but I think most universities in Australia, they accept the result sheet. So that should be okay.
That is because that a course accreditation,
Yes,
because
that's right.
because they recognize the modules and the degree, so you can just give the result sheet for that. And
Yeah, and then you will need to do IELTS or TOEFL or any recognized English language requirement test. So again, this also depends on the university. So sometimes this will be waived. In some universities, this will be waived if you have recently completed a degree in English. So in our case, Sasindhu and I didn't do IELTS because Unimelb has an exemption.
it's not must to do IELTS or TOEFL.
Yeah.
For you.
So, but most universities, if you are from a non-English speaking country, they'll require IELTS qualification. The IELTS marks also depends on the university. In here, I think it's 6.5.
6.5 over
In Cambridge, I think it's around 7 or
7
something.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, again, yeah, it depends on the university. And you'll need a research proposal that we talked earlier, and you'll need at least 2 referee reports. In US, I think you need 3. So these referees should be academic referees. So you can get referee reports from your, say, undergraduate research supervisor and another academic member from our department. So have a good relationship with your research supervisor and some academic members of the department. And you'll need a personal statement. This is, I think, only for you, USA. So articulating why you're going to pursue higher studies, and then your academic CV. So these are the main things. Based on the university, you will need many other documentations. But in Australian universities, these are the main things that you need. Next, we'll talk briefly about how we can improve your eligibility when you are applying for a scholarship. So the main thing is your GPA. So if
it's not late at any stage. If you haven't done your final exams, it's still not late, because even if you score in your final semester, it's still gonna be valued, right? Pretty much.
Because say if you are in your first year, second year, and you have right now a relatively low GPA, so you still have time, because there are some universities that gives a higher weightage for your final 2 years. So you can catch up, but the relatively high GPA is the main thing that they'll consider. There's no sugarcoating it. So that affects a lot, right? If you are applying, especially if you are applying a direct PhD, but say even if you have a like second lower or something, or maybe you're lower that, if you are going to do a master's, and if you can get a, say, 2 journal publications, that's more than enough. Yeah, that's the second point, publications and your final year research. So in your final year research, try to aim for a publication, at least a conference publication. So if you can get a journal publication from your undergraduate research, great, but most of the time it will be difficult. Try to get at least a conference publication. So those 2 are the main things that they'll consider. But apart from that, they'll consider academic projects, awards and achievements, and IELTS score.
I should talk about that.
Yeah.
Because awards and achievement, in the sense, these should be like recognized. So anything like that you receive from like a club or society that in university, that doesn't count, right? It should come from a recognized body. It should either be from academic perspective from your university, or maybe the government, or maybe some engineering body that is recognized in Sri Lanka, right? So you know these names of these awards that IESL gives out something, some government gives out something, the Sri Lankan Association of Advancement Science, they give out something, and you have 6 medals in the department, right? For each division, you have 6 medals, and CDP have 10 gold medals, right? Gold medals, 10 certificates, right? those are the things that we're talking about. So if you have them, that's going to have an edge on your application.
Yeah, and you will stand out when you're contacting supervisors as well. And communication skills and software literacy, this is basically when you're contacting your supervisors, they don't affect in applications. So you have to like communicate well with your supervisor if they have an interview. So if they feel, even within an interview, if they feel that you are like, if you are not confident and if you are lacking in some aspects, they might not give their consent to apply. The software literacy means if you are, so even in your undergraduate or research or master's research, if you have worked on a, if you have worked on a software, say it's a numerical software, or say Abacus, SAP or whatever. So if you have a good competency in that software, so it will be easier to find a position where you have work, where you would have to work to in the same software, right? Because supervisors will consider that, because you don't have to start from the beginning since you already have knowledge. So try to like learn. So if you're using a software for your research, try to master it, try to have an edge with them as well. So we'll talk a little bit about opportunities in Australia now. So there are like so many universities in Australia. So these are the ones that most of our civil engineering people are in. So you can also try to apply to these universities. So mainly in Melbourne, you have University of Melbourne, RMIT, Monash, Swinburne, Federation and Deakin. In Sydney, you have UNSW, UTS and Western Sydney. In Brisbane, you have QUT and UQ. So
interesting fact, actually, like from the 17 batch, not just from the civil, but I think we have covered all these universities, the 17 batch.
Yeah, there are like 25, about 25 people from civil 17 batch, so not civil,
So
overall
17.
17 batch. And the
more-
interesting thing is most of them are from
Civil
civil engineering department, about
Yeah.
I think 10 of them.
More than that,
More
I
than
think.
that, yeah.
15, I think.
Yeah. In our 70 civil department, there are people in Melbourne, UniMelb, RMIT, Monash, Swinburne, Federation, UTS,
Yes,
and
and
UQ.
UQ as well, right? Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're
so-
coming to the end of our
Yeah.
presentation. There, like, yeah.
We just wanted to give you.
So you would
glance.
think that postgraduate life is stressful and a lot of work. Yes, it is. There would be a lot of stressful nights. There would be a lot of hard work. But I would say it's quite flexible than you think, right? So we can choose our, say, working time. We can, if you want to take a day off, we can do that if given that you don't have a strict supervisor. So it's always, it's not as hard as it thinks, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. I mean, we have a big community. Like you can see in this photograph, it's more than 100 people in Melbourne University from the Sri Lankan community, for graduate researchers, lecturers, professors. They're there. Like, so it's not like it's not going to be like something you are going to something new. There are people there, and you can enjoy a lot, and you can build up. Like there are so many people. There are people from China, India, Pakistan. They were there. They were participating in the events as well, and we won some of them as well, right, in that day. So. And this is a barbecue event we had. So this you can see it's so many people from different. So our HOD from our infrastructure department is there, and some our lecturers, our professors as there as well. It's just very good time, and I'm pretty sure Sachindu didn't cook in Sri Lanka, but he managed a barbecue event in Melbourne. So yeah. So it turned out a good cook. And this is our society, Graduate Infrastructure Society. So this is the society of our department, and quite interesting
Yeah,
fact.
it's the equivalent to CES
In here,
for graduate students.
But the thing is, arriving by just 1 month, it's really the presidency. She's the president.
So we have the power.
So right, so it's quite good. So we have done several events, and it's so much community events and all those kind of stuff. So, and again, the next. And this was the comparison that we had, like it was about construction. It's like same things as you know, Spaghetti Bridge competition, Wood Bridge competition. It's the same way. So we are trying to give you the fact that it's not quite different. It's the same thing.
Just
The
research.
point is, it's not boring as you think.
Yeah, it's not. And this is, you can see the people. There are so many people, right? All of these guys are from 17 batch of Australia. So can see we enjoy, we go on see things, we play with sports and all those kind of stuff. So it's a huge bunch. So you won't be alone. So if you think that you apply, you will be no, there will be a person that is from your university.
Yeah, there'll be in any country you apply in university, there'll be
Yeah,
a
there
person
will
for
be a
University of
person. So
Moratuwa.
don't worry.
So yeah, that's the slides that you prepared. That's a brief introduction that you're gonna talk. So we'll talk later in the Q&A session. So I think, yeah, Vinuka, you can take over.
Thank you, Mr. Sasinu, Mr. Upekar, Mr. Amina, and Ms. Isuri for your inspiring and informative insights. We are deeply grateful for your willingness to share your experiences and guide us through the scholarship application process. Next, we have Ms. Nishangani. Your journey and your accomplishments serve as a true inspiration to all of us. We are eager to hear from you about your path to success and how you obtained that coveted scholarship to the University of Cambridge. We understand that many in our audience may aspire to follow a similar path, and your insights into the scholarship application process will be invaluable. We warmly invite you to share your journey with us and shed light on the procedures and strategies that led to your remarkable achievement. Ms. Nishangani, the platform is open to you.
Thank you. So I hope you can see my screen. So now we all got an idea about the PhD application process and the life at the university. It's always like also the same as here from their presentation. So I have prepared some slides. This is solely on funding opportunities at the University of Cambridge. So what I'd like to say is like, this is like, you can just consider this as an example for like funding application process, something like that. But you can take this as a sample, and this will be like mostly for same for all most of the universities. So moving on. Okay, so initially I'd like to show like the percentage distribution between the PhD courses and master's courses in with regards of fully funded studentships, partially funded, and fully self-funded. As the name suggests, fully funded means they will pay you for your whole tuition fee and also your maintenance payments. And partially funded means they will pay you for your tuition fee, but we need to find a way to fund ourselves to maintain the costs. And fully self-funded means, as the name suggests, it's like we need to fund ourselves. So I've put the pie charts just to give you an overall view on how the percentage distribution within the master's course and PhD course at University of Cambridge. It's around 68% for PhD, but it's only 12% for masters. So that's one thing. And fully funded means it's not like awarded by only one award. You can combine multiple awards to get a fully funded studentship. So that's also possible. It's like 75% you can, mostly you'll get like one award covering your full cost. And the rest of it will be like combining multiple awards. And moving on to the next one. So this is just a reminder, like while you're applying, you should select when they ask whether you are willing to apply for a funding, you have to select, I wish to apply, yes. So this is where, like, when you select this option, they will consider for like numerous scholarship opportunities, like automatically for you. But there are some specific pages there, like some popular scholarship awards, which we'll be discussing in the later slides. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, this is like solely on like Cambridge scholarships. So these are the type of scholarships slash awards we can get from Cambridge. So there are like university awards, which includes Cambridge Trust Scholarships, Gates Cambridge Scholarship, HTPSP scholarships, and there are a lot more. So these are like most popular ones. And we'll be discussing all three regarding their eligibility criteria and how they select the candidates and a lot more details later. And there are some other awards called Research Council Awards. These are for like AHRC, PSRC are like for different disciplines, I would say. So for engineering, it is called EPSRC, Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council. So this is mostly like an external thing, because in the application process, you won't have a page for EPSRC. So this can be done in like, you can contact them separately and like by filling an application externally, I mean separately, not externally. That's one case. Then they will take you and give you the fund. That's one option. The other one, as Upeka mentioned, I guess, like the funded projects. So these research council bodies have several groups in the sense like several projects. So you can contact them to join in that group, or else some potential supervisors have grants from Research Council. So you can contact the supervisors and then they can take you, and within that area, they can like, you can suggest a research topic and it'll go on like that. So that's one option on Research Council. And moving on with departmental scholarships. So here, like many departments have specific awards which they administer themselves. So you can find more information about the departmental awards from each departmental websites. So you can find that from postgraduate funding search, which I'll be discussing in the next slide. Moving on with the college awards, these are like similar to departmental awards. So there are actually 31 colleges in Cambridge. So those who doesn't know, here there are like colleges and the university. So the university is where you study and the research related stuffs are going on, but the colleges are like, they facilitate you, like accommodate you by library, like by giving you accommodation, library facilities and everything. So those are like colleges are like homes for you here. So from colleges, you can actually, while filling the application, there's a page where you need to select your preferred college. So in college funding, there are like 3 different types. One is open funding. So it means you don't need to state your college preference in the application in order to get this open funding. So whatever the college you put, they will consider you for the college awards, and if it's if you are eligible, then they will give it to you. And the second type is funding based on college preferences, which means, as the text says, so you have to specify their college name as a first preference. There are like 2 preferences you can put. So if you so they will consider you only if you put their college in your first preference. And the third type is post-offer application. So this is only available to those who have already accepted a place in the college, and then they will consider you for those specific awards. So moving on. So this is the student funding search I was telling about in the last slide. So when you go to Google and type studentfunding.cam.ac.uk, you will get this page. So this is where you can like get all the details about the total number of awards available. So here you can refine your search by selecting, for example, if you let's say if you are considering next year applicant and full-time PhD, and we can select nationality, and then if you have any preference in the college selection, you can put the college here as well. And then by updating, you can get all the eligible awards you can get from Cambridge and also from external bodies. It will all show up here. You can see the total funding opportunities are like 367. It doesn't mean 367 students, 367 opportunities. And in some scholarships are like for 1 to 2 students, but some are for like 50, 25 number of students. So yeah, so you can try it yourself and see what other scholarships are eligible. I mean, for what other scholarships you are eligible for. And yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, so I have chosen Cambridge Trust Scholarship and Gates Cambridge Scholarship and Harding Scholarship to give you some information on how they select, what are the eligibility criteria they are considering, those kind of things. So these are like samples. So there are a lot of scholarships, not only in Cambridge, but also in some other universities like Imperial College, UCL, University of Bristol, Oxford College. So, so let's come to this point. Cambridge Trust Scholarship. So this is not like one scholarship. They provide like a wide range of scholarships with varying conditions of eligibility. So which includes academic performance, and also they consider financial needs for some different awards. But you don't need to worry, you will be considered for like all applicants will be considered for these awards. So using that student funding search, you can find out what are the eligible awards from Cambridge Trust. And they ask you to select here, like if you want to be considered for some particular awards, which you think you will like get it for sure. What I mean by that is like, there are not only like as I mentioned earlier, there are like some awards that they will give it for 1 to 2 students. So there are like the eligibility for that particular scholarship is like more specific. So if you think you would fit that, then you can put that here. And for example, we have like, while applying, we have selected Commonwealth Cambridge Scholarship and Cambridge International Scholarship. These are some samples. So you can select as many as you want here. Okay. For the second one, for Harding Scholarship and Gates Cambridge Scholarship, I have prepared like a comparison so that you can do a little comparison between the scholarships. So for Harding Scholarship, the eligibility, eligibility criteria are for like the student should be a part-time or full-time PhD student, and they will consider like any nationality students or any discipline you're choosing. There's no restrictions. The only restriction is it will be tenable at like 23 eligible colleges. So you can get the details from the website. And if you need any information about the scholarship, you can contact me later on. But for the Gates Cambridge Scholarship, the eligibility criteria is like the student should be a citizen of any country other than UK. That's one thing. And for courses, they are considering a wide range, like PhD full-time and part-time, M literature, and 1-year postgraduate courses, but not all courses. There are some exceptions, which you can find it in the website as well. Okay, and the selection process for Harding scholars. So while I was applying, the selection criteria was like academic excellence, innovation, and multidisciplinary things. But this time in the website, they have updated for only on academic excellence. So which they will assess you through your transcript you are submitting and the references which are given by your referees and the research experience and potential to succeed on the chosen course. This can also be obtained from your referees, I guess, yeah. But for Gates Cambridge, there are like 4 major criteria. First one is the academic excellence. And the second one is you need to explain the reasons for your choice of that particular course. And the third one is commitment to improving the lives of others. And final one is a capacity for leadership. So this is where some extracurricular activities and some social activities will help you to like make stand out from the other applicants. So they will assess these details from a personal statement which you have to write if you are applying for Gates Cambridge scholarship. Like a 2 to 3 page. There's a word limit like 2,500 characters, I guess. It's not word. So you have to state your academic excellence and like addressing all 4 points, and you have to create your personal statement. So they will assess that as well as transcripts and the proofs you are submitting, and then they will select. So these are like very competitive. So yeah, and sorry. So the final one is the funding deadlines and the offer notification timeline. So most of the funding deadlines for international students falls in December, where the application deadline will be around March. So if you want to be considered for a scholarship, then you should submit it by end of December. But usually, as they mentioned, usually the academic year starts here from October, start of October. From October to December, it is called Michaelmas term. Starting from January, February kind of term is called Lent term. So since the academic year starts from October, like you can join in Lent term as well, but you need to be careful. Like even if you are joining in Lent term, it doesn't mean you can apply for scholarships later. So roughly, you may need to apply around 15 months earlier for the scholarships. So be mindful about that. Yeah, so this is the total offer notification timeline starting from end of February to end of July. So main offer making period for funding is around March and April, like early March starting from. But like if you have not been offered any scholarship by July, then we should assume that we haven't secured a funding. So July 31st is kind of end of the notification period. So here I've given some useful links for every slides I have prepared earlier. So you can go to these websites and find more detailed information from that. I think that's all. Yeah. And thank you. If you have any questions, we are happy to answer. And Vinuka.
Thank you, Ms. Nishandani, for sharing your incredible journey, insights, and wisdoms with us today. The story is truly inspiring, and your guidance on obtaining scholarships and achieving academic excellence is surely of extreme importance to us. Now it's time to move on to the most awaited Q&A session. I would like to open the platform for all the attendees to raise questions that they have been eagerly waiting to receive answers for from our panel of speakers today. You can also direct your questions in the chat as well. And in the meantime, I will also like to direct some of the questions that to our panel of speakers. There are some of the questions from our fellow undergraduate students in our gathered crowd, which were pre-submitted to our organizers. So until we get some responses from the attendees, I will direct them to our panel of speakers. I would first like to direct this question towards Mr. Sasindu. What are the qualifications we need to have in order to apply for a scholarship?
Yeah, so in the presentation, we have discussed about those things, the qualifications that we need. So basically, you need to have a first class or second upper class for your bachelor's, and then IELTS or TOEFL language requirements, and your supervisory agreement consent form, and yeah, those are the materials that you need to apply for these PhDs. So as qualifications, I would say we have if we have a very good GPA, that's a good point. But it's not must to have a first class GPA to apply for this kind of a PhD opportunity. Even though you have a second upper or second lower class, if you can show your potential to a supervisor that you have a good potential and you are very passionate to do this kind of research, very similar to these research things, so they are very happy to take us for their projects. So the main thing is the way we are pitching to themselves. So the how we are going to show our potential to them. So the first impression that they got when they are going through our CV or cover letter. So that's the main thing we need to focus. So the if you have first class, that's good job. So you have very high chance for securing a PhD opportunity. But it doesn't say that if you don't have, so don't worry. So you can have this kind of opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I add to that, so in Australia, like all the scholarships are kind of centralized within the university. So even though four of us got the like when you look from the outside, four of us had the same scholarship. But I think we have three types of scholarship,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And Surya and Amila has one. I have a different one, and
And I
Sasita
have a
has a different one.
Yeah, my scholarship is mainly based on industry. So industry partner is giving us the most of the funding for our project.
Yeah, the thing is, if the supervisor has impressed that you are the person to do this job, he can like kind of sponsor you. He can chip in the money that is required for your stipend basically in your PhD, and he can give that money to the university. Then university will offer you that scholarship. So it's not that competitive if you get your scholarship in that way, because the supervisor is giving the money. Then so if you have the basic requirements set out by the university to pursue a PhD, then you will get the scholarship because the money is coming from the supervisor. So that is only if the supervisors have funded projects. So in that case, it's quite not that competitive. But so if if you are like, if you don't have a like funded project or source, then it will be a bit more competitive because you are getting the funding from the university.
Yeah, thank you very much for that insightful answer. I would once again like to invite the attendees to ask questions from our panel of speakers.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Isha, right?
Yes. Do we have to engage in extracurricular activities while doing academics to get a foreign job opportunity like road track, ISEC, audio, something?
Yeah, the simple answer is yes, but that differentiates like Malik, because if you're asking for a job opportunity, right? So for a job, so what happens is they are looking for a particular set of skills, right? So maybe they may be requiring some kind of analysis softwares, or maybe to do some experience, or you have to do some designs. That depends, right? So that is the more main focus. Let's say 90% of your CV should be that, right? Incorporating that aspects. And then in this sector, some people, they look about how we are how we are engaging with the community, right? How we are engaging with the peers in your your workplace and all those kind of stuff. So anything that you do in let's say any of the clubs and societies that you have mentioned, that is going to give you an edge, right? It will showcase that you have some kind of experience of managing projects, and you have some good communication skills, you have some good soft skills. So that's it. That's have an edge. Actually, it does, but it is not at a higher level, right? I mean, it's this. Let's say if 90% is your skills, let's say 5 to 10% would be that amount.
Yeah, for a job, it doesn't matter the country. Anywhere, if you're applying for a job, that matters. For academics, no, it doesn't. It almost doesn't matter.
It more doesn't, yeah.
And when you are thinking to do more extracurricular activities, don't do many extracurricular just because of mentioning them on the CV.
Yeah.
Do them to develop your personality, to get some leadership skills, to develop the time management and every skills that we have. The soft skills are the major things that we can impress many people. So like that we can show our potential. So we have good personality like those. But when it comes to PhD, when we are applying for scholarships, it doesn't. We don't get any points in the scholarship round just because of doing extracurricular. It just want to impress our supervisor that we have a good personality and like those soft skills. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the answer.
Yeah, thank you. And I would also like to direct some pre-submitted questions. This question is directed towards Ms. Nishangani. When doing research, is there anything that helped you to do the literature review easily? And what are the techniques that you used?
Okay, for literature review, okay, so first you may need to have an outline on like what's your purpose. So, but you need to know what you're searching, right? So it's better, like it's always better to have like a framework on what is the main thing you need to know. And if you can put it like a framework, like a structure with the headings and subheadings in which order you are going to do. So that's one thing to keep you organized while searching. And what I always do is like when I read a paper, I try to keep a summary as in Word or anything. So it will help you later because you will feel like you might have read one thing in your first year, and while writing your thesis, you definitely need to know, but in some point you might not remember at which paper you got it. So it's always good to keep a track of it, and also it always better to use reference management software like Manly or Zotero things. So while you are searching for papers, you can save that in whichever the software you like. And always. So okay, so always refer the published papers. You need to like be updated on the recent publications because that will give you what are the recent researches have been done on that particular research interest area. And whenever I prepare a summary, I always check that with my supervisor, not immediately, but after collecting, to make sure I'm going on a correct track. So that helps me a lot. And one thing I actually didn't do, but it's better if you do, because you have to have a dedicated time for a literature review, like doing in a particular period of time. So I also have to improve that. And always you need to revise and refine your literature review like in a certain period of time, like a rotation. So you can address the improvements which have been done within that period. So those points will help, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nishangani. Next, I would like to direct this question to Ms. Isuri. What are the job opportunities in foreign countries and how to get selected for those job offers? And what are the minimum requirements for these opportunities?
Right, thanks, Vinaka. I'm not sure if we are the right persons to maybe advise on job opportunities because we're all from the research area. But what I think it's a little bit difficult to find job opportunities in overseas if you don't have experience from the industry, maybe at least 2 years, especially in Australia. Yeah.
And it's difficult to apply for job opportunities in other countries
Yes.
in Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
from Sri Lanka. Yeah.
They'll they'll prioritize the people onshore.
So in the most of the opportunities, they are stating that you should be have a work work
experience.
work experience. And you should have full time work.
Yeah, full-time work like in your visa area.
Yeah, you have the visa conditions.
Visa
Like, yeah.
condition.
Yeah, but saying that, we have a few colleagues from our batch who have gotten job opportunities overseas, and I think most of them, the opportunities were given from our lecturers,
yeah,
so
and
they are
even
the
the-
one, yeah. So those are the opportunities, as far as we know, that
yeah.
our students have gotten overseas jobs.
And there is a visa subclass for a graduate visa. There's a, in Australia for like a subclass 476. Yeah, 476. So it gives you a visa for 18 months. So if your visa processed and if you got the visa, you can come to Australia and find a job. So if you find a job very quickly and if you go for a industry sponsorship, so you can go for a PR path. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, in Australia, if you are like, if a employer are hiring you from another country, they have to sponsor.
Yeah.
So the employers do not like to sponsor. They are trying to get people who has PRO, who are citizens. So it's really difficult to apply for a job from overseas. They'll definitely give preference, so they don't have to go through all the bureaucracies on the documentation. They can just hire from here. So unless if you have like good experience, all the opportunities come through the department, like in case for our batch, so it would be quite difficult for you in that avenue. Would be quite difficult.
Maybe Nishanganyaka has an comment on this because she's from the previous batch. Maybe maybe she has a idea.
Perspective.
Batchmates. Yeah.
I don't have like a lot of idea on that, like from of my batchmates, but I have heard the same thing about that 18 months thing, because two of my batchmates have got the visa and they are going and looking for a job there. And about UK, like other than like getting the, jobs directly from university, so you can search on internet, like mostly so yeah, and also about the visa. So if you have applied and they are willing to take you, and then they will provide you with, they will sponsor you and you can come with work visa. Or else you can come in a student visa and study, and then it's easy to change after finishing your studies, easy to change to work visa and then work here. Or else you can come as a dependent. So if you are coming as a dependent visa, I mean, in a dependent visa, then you can work fully, like full time. So those are the three visa options. But I'm not very sure about the opportunities directly. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Erin. Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. And the next question I would like to direct to Ms. Nishangani once again. This is the question. Given the current situation in Sri Lanka, what is the best option to be successful in the future after the degree? Is it doing an MSc, PhD, or looking for a job?
Okay. It's depend on, like, it's mainly depend on your personal goals and ambition. That's first thing. So, but I can't give you like a decision, but I can give you some considerations you may have to take, like consider about both higher studies and the job opportunities. So for higher studies, you can get like a career advancement and specialization in a specific research field if you want, if you like. And you may work in a innovative research area, which that's also depend on your goal if you like. And you may get a global opportunities after studying, and you can get work and it'll go on. And then like you can get connections with a whole lot of new people, So those are like positive points from higher studies. If you talk about employment, again, like if you want to get immediate income, so that's a good option. And you'll get a practical experience, like industrial experience as well. And your career progression will be like get higher in a short period, starting from your undergrad to a job. And if you want to study, but there are some financial issues, so first you can work, and if you want, you can save money for that, and then you can carry on. It depends, actually. You have to decide what you like. I mean, what your interest lies on. That's the main thing, right? Because you need to feel satisfied within yourself. So whichever that gives you confidence and satisfaction, that's what we all need to do. So these are the things. These are the points you may need to consider before selecting. Yeah, but I can't give a decision on that. It depends.
Thank you very much for your answer. Now I would like to once again ask from our attendees whether you all have any questions to direct to our panel of speakers.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Yeah, so my interest was in computer science engineering, and I didn't have a sufficient GPA to go to CSE. So therefore, can I know what are the CES related activities and paths that I can pursue within civil engineering to follow my passion?
Yes, Shanuda. Like there are a lot of opportunities. Even in University of Cambridge, I have an example for your question, but he did his undergrad in computer science, but he's doing a PhD in civil engineering. So that is on smart infrastructure, like digital twin, something like that. So there are a lot of opportunities, like even in structural analysis and design, there are I would say like 50-50 on computer science applications are there, coding and everything. And machine learning and AI, like, for example, predicting material properties. So you can use those tools. And yeah, there are a lot of fields which you can do in civil engineering, which like that students have to have some background idea on computer science. It will be like helpful for them to easily understand those things and also like work efficiently in that areas. So there are a lot of opportunities, so don't worry about it.
Maybe we
You
can
need to like,
on that.
sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nisha. Yeah. Okay.
So you can like specifically select on those kind of subjects as they mentioned during your final year. So that will really help you to change your track a little bit in your interested area. So that's what I wanted to tell. You can continue.
Thank you. So basically now what you have to understand is any project or a PhD project or anything that happens in anywhere, it is not a specific focus, it's a project, right? So if I take, for example, we have a project in Melbourne and in our group that is about recycling plastic waste. And for that, we need mechanical engineers, civil engineers, CS engineers, all those kind of stuff, all of the people. So we have two people who's from CES, one from Peradeniya and one from Moratuva. They are working on project in the infrastructure engineering department. So that doesn't like, so we have different scopes and capabilities that very people require. So if you are coming from a civil background, and if you have the knowledge on Python, Java, machine learning, AI, then we don't need two people, to be honest. So you just need one person for that. So if you can pitch that to the supervisor or the person that you're writing to, then he'll take you on a snap, right? Because that's great. So that's what happens. So don't be discouraged because of that. You wanted to do CES, but you got selected to civil, because that is not something that you have to be disappointed in, because civil is a great field, right? So we all are coming from civil, so we have learned so much things. And like for Udita's case, right? He's mapping out the stresses like from computer mechanics on like hardware, right?
Yeah.
So that is coming from civil background as well. So who would have thought of that? And now Isuri and Sasidhu, they are working on like developing novel materials for composite structures in residential ones, and Upegan working on like hydrogen storage in cryogenic liquid temperatures. So we are doing so much different things. So what you do in your department doesn't mean the limit is the sky. That's what I can say. So don't be discouraged, because you can go anywhere. You can end up anywhere. So it's just up to your imagination, right? Don't be discouraged.
Yeah, the two options that you have is you can either change your change your path, or you can opt to a path within civil engineering where your skills are valuable. So what we would advise is the latter one,
Yeah.
because changing your field, yeah. So I know most of people are considering that, but yeah, if you change it in civil engineering, it will be difficult for you to come back.
Yeah.
Right. So what we think the best is like use your skill,
Develop your skill.
yeah, develop your skills, and use your civil skill as an added advantage, right? Don't just abandon it. So that will be a waste, right? So use that as an advantage and find applications that both of your skills would be necessary.
You will be, discouraged because of the conditions we had in Sri Lanka for a couple of years, but that doesn't reflect what is around in the globe, right? You might be a little bit behind sometimes, like 3 or 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, maybe. But we can assure that the people from our batch, there's no one left at home, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is engaged with something. It took some time, then I think compared to Nishang Nyaka's batch on the previous batch, it took some time, maybe a couple of months more. But it doesn't mean that we have much far behind, right? So don't be discouraged, stand firm on your ground, do your work, do your researches very firmly, achieve your best, and then start mapping from there onwards, right? That's where you should start from.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your insightful answers. And next, I would like to direct this question towards Mr. Sasindu. Can you share your experience as an undergraduate on how to select the research topic in the final year and the challenges that you faced?
Yeah, so answering to that question, so yeah, when choosing my research topic, actually when in civil department, we have a tradition or something, yeah. So there's according to our GPA, we have to select our research topic. So I always had wanted to do a research related to the structural. So then I made a list. I sorted out the topics according to my interest. So then according to GPA list, I got my research topic. So main thing was I always wanted to do a research related to structural engineering. So yeah, the mostly matters is the GPA when choosing a research topic in our final year. Yeah.
It's about mapping out. It's about mapping out. So let's say take for my case, for example. So I did construction management. All these three of guys did structures, right? So for me to do construction management was the reason that I wanted to have a different perspective, and I wanted highlightation as well. Like I want to be highlighted as well at the same time. But that didn't make me lose focus on structural aspects. I took all the modules and I kept my skills and competencies on that aspect as well. Only thing I did was I had a research focus in a different division. So it's up to you. Think ahead, like 1 year, 2 year ahead. Think where you want to end up and work towards that. That's the ultimate, right, Isuri?
I think that depends on your mindset. Yeah, whatever research you do get, depending on maybe the GPA, depends on how you get selected. If you do your research really well, it's going to go a long way. So what would you suggest is even if you don't get a research you're not maybe very interested in, do it correctly and it will go a long way.
It's not only about the research topic, it's about learning the research skills. So that's what they put the final year research for. You are learning how to do research. Then you can apply that in your postgraduate studies. So don't get discouraged with like whatever your topics you are getting. So don't worry about it. Just do it in a right way with your guidance with your supervisors. So yeah.
Thank you very much. And the next question I would like to direct to Mr. Upekar. How can we improve our chances of getting a scholarship? And this question was directed by a final year student actually.
So if you are in final years, the chances, I would say, yeah. So you might not have much time to improve your GPA, so you will have to work on with what you have. So if you have a high GPA, you can straight away apply for a direct PhD. So if you don't have that kind of GPA, the best option is to do a master's. So the most important thing after GPA, as I mentioned before, is your publications, right? So if you can show maybe a one or two highly ranked journal publications, that would help a lot. That would actually help a lot. Journal publication. So that's the best way to improve your eligibility, having journal publications. So if you have a high GPA, go on. If you don't have, maybe you can try to start doing a master's. So it can be within our department. So because in our department we have 1 year master. So 1 year masters are not that common because usually it's 2 years. So within 1 year master, you can within one year you can work on that full time, and with that research, try to publish that research, right? So with that, you will highly improve your eligibility and focus on the skills that we mentioned within our presentation as well.
Basically, now if you are applying for a scholarship, now it gets to its score, right? Let's say out of 100. So in order to get the scholarship, you need to rank more than 75, I think, right? 75, but
to be
considered over 75. But if you are in the 90s ranges, then you'd get that.
Yeah, highly likely.
Highly likely. So map it out, like the guidelines are given on those websites.
Yeah.
Just calculate what is your GPA and whether you come to that 75 area. If you're coming to that 75 area, then of course you can apply, right? Then it's about IELTS, conference proceedings, or maybe journal publications, or some awards or achievements that you get on your undergraduate curriculum, or maybe some other things, some projects that you might do that would add some highlights into your academic CVs. So much stuff you can do. So have a good look at all those stuff. So then you can have
and if you don't have any of that, even if you communicate well, sometimes that would be enough.
That would be enough. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your answer. And I would like to direct one more question from Mr. Amila. Is it easy to get a scholarship when we try through the university directly or through a lecturer or professor in that university?
The short answer will be the latter, because if you get if a lecturer or a professor in the department say that you have opportunity, that means that the supervisor abroad, he already has an opportunity and he's looking for a student, and he's particular about student from Moratuwa, and he's particular about student from that lecturer and professor as well. So that is, you are in a high chance, right? So most probably 5 or 6 people would apply for this opportunity. So if you highlight yourself, that's going to work out. So that's what happens. So now Isuri, Upekar, and myself, we were at the department for 4 or 5 months, and we had good engagement with all our lecturers. So they informed us about the opportunities that are available. They helped us with referee reports. I must say our lecturers, they wrote some excellent referee reports. Our supervisors here, they consistently mention that they give us so many good reports. So that's really valuable. So anything that's come from there, that will be there. And in the same time, you have to engage with the people that the way that we have described you, because that is very important as well. it depends, right? There's no A, B, C, the steps that you need to follow. I mean, what would work out for you? Like something would work out for Baker, something worked out for me, again, something for Sastru and Usuri, it changes. So it's about trying, to keep trying, right? So I know sometimes you might not be like familiar with the disappointment because you are the top from A levels and most of you are from civil and you are scoring. And when you get a disappointment, like saying no, that might not be a feeling that you are used to. It was the case for me. Getting no's, like 10, 12 no's from emails, that's not easy, but don't get discouraged. Keep applying, keep good communication with lecturers, and that will work out at some time, obviously.
Yeah, if you're from Morato, that will definitely work out. Yeah, it might take 1 month, it might take 10 months, but it definitely work out.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your answers. Due to the limited time frame, we will have to limit the raised questions as well. So as we are getting closer to the end of the session, I would like to express our deep appreciation and heartfelt gratitude to our guest speakers for their invaluable time, wisdom, and willingness to inspire others on their academic journeys. On behalf of everyone present and on behalf of our organizers, I would like to express our sincere appreciation once again for your contribution to this event. Your stories will undoubtedly motivate and guide countless aspiring undergraduate students and will be of great help for them in applying for scholarships for their PhD journeys as well.
And we must say thank you for all of you, the Civil Engineering Society, Dr. Fasidu, and all the lecturers, our Madam, Professor Jayasinghe, and everyone who was catering us this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us as well.
And it's quite nice to see the faces of you all. And
after some time.
And we love to give something, even if the smallest amount, we really love to engage with Morato again. And because that's where we grew up, we are always like, we are like, we want to be there and we want to. So just like I said, I think we will be sharing with this content with you guys as well. Our emails are laid out. Please write to us if you have any concerns or anything. And again, thank you very much, Jess.
Thank you very much. And finally, I would like to thank everyone for joining us in this enlightening webinar. We hope that the experiences that shared here today will kindle the flames of curiosity and determination in all who have participated. Lao Tzu once said that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Remember, your journey, just like theirs, will begin with that first step. Hoping to see you all in the upcoming sessions of SkillUp with SES. Goodbye and best wishes on your own paths to knowledge and discovery. Have a nice day. Thank you.